If I could sit down with every veteran who just received a 0% rating, there's one thing I would tell them immediately. Don't focus on that zero. Focus on the service connection. Because I've seen a lot of veterans open a VA decision letter, see that 0% rating, and immediately think, I got nothing. I've done it myself. Some are frustrated, some get angry, some assume the entire process was a waste of time because there isn't any monthly compensation attached to a 0% decision. On the surface, I can understand why they feel that way because, like I said, I've been there. We naturally look at the percentage first, but in many cases, that's exactly the wrong thing to focus on. Now, I'm not saying that a 0% rating is the same thing as a 30, 50, or 100% rating. It absolutely isn't. A 0% rating doesn't generate monthly compensation. But many veterans become so focused on the payment amount, they completely miss what the VA actually granted them. And in some cases, what they overlook can become one of the most valuable decisions that they'll ever get from the VA. Before we jump in, just a quick reminder, this channel provides benefits education only. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a claims agent. I'm not a VSO. I'm not a VA representative. I'm not telling you what to file or guaranteeing you any outcomes. My goal is simply to help other veterans better understand how the system works so they can make informed decisions based on facts instead of assumptions. All right, back to what we were talking about. First thing we need to understand is that service connection and compensation are not the same thing. They're related, but they're not identical. Service connection means that the VA has recognized that this condition is connected somehow to your military service. Compensation is the separate question of how severe that condition currently is under the VA rating criteria. A lot of veterans accidentally combine those two ideas into one. They think the percentage is the entire story. It isn't. It absolutely isn't. The percentage tells you what the VA believes about the severity of your condition today. Service connection actually establishes that the connection is tied to your military service. Those can be two wildly different things. That's why I often tell veterans that the most important word in a 0% decision is not the zero. It's the phrase service connected. Once that condition becomes service connected, it becomes part of your disability picture. The VA has acknowledged that the condition exists and that it's linked to your service. That matters more than many people realize. Think about it like this. Let's say two veterans have the exact same knee condition 10 years from now. One veteran already has a service connection, even at 0%. The other veteran has never established service connection at all. Even though those two veterans may have the same symptoms in the future, they're not starting from the same place. One has already gotten the condition recognized as related to their military service. That's significant, and it's one of the reasons that a 0% rating can have long-term value. Another reason that 0% ratings matter is because conditions don't always stay the same throughout life. Most veterans understand this from personal experience, to be honest. Some conditions remain stable for years. Some improve, some gradually become more severe, especially as we age. Some create additional limitations that weren't present when the original decision was made. The point isn't that every 0% condition will eventually become compensable. The point is that life happens, bodies change, conditions evolve over time. That's why the service connection itself is often the most important part of any decision. I think this is where many veterans accidentally make a mistake. They look at the 0% rating and mentally file it away as worthless because it doesn't instantly generate monthly income. Then years later, they discover the service connection was actually the valuable part all along. The percentage reflected the evidence at that moment in time. The service connection is what established the relationship between the condition and military service. There's another reason that I think veterans should pay attention to a 0% rating, and that's secondary conditions. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a secondary claims video because that's not exactly what I'm talking about today. But it's important to understand that service-connected conditions don't exist in a vacuum. Sometimes one condition contributes to another condition. Sometimes a condition creates limitations that lead to additional problems over time. Again, every situation is different. Every claim depends on its own facts, its own evidence. The larger point is that service connection can matter far beyond the condition that originally received the 0% rating. This is why I tell veterans to read the records. Don't read the rumors. The internet loves percentages. Veterans love comparing percentages. The actual records often tell a much more important story. What was granted? What condition was recognized? What does the decision actually say? What is the effective date? Those details come into play. They matter big time. A veteran who understands their records is usually in a much better position than a veteran who only remembers the percentage they got. I also think it's important to talk very briefly about healthcare and other benefits. Depending on a veteran's overall situation, service-connected conditions can have implications beyond monthly compensation. I'm not going to go deep into healthcare. I'm not going to go into eligibility because that in and of itself is an entire video. The point I want veterans to understand is that a service-connected condition may carry significance well beyond your monthly payment column. That's another reason why a 0% decision shouldn't automatically be dismissed. One of the questions I sometimes ask veterans is, would you rather have a service-connected condition rated at 0, or would you rather have no service connection at all? Seems like when I frame the question that way, the answer becomes a whole lot clearer. A 0% rating may not be exciting. It may not be the outcome that you hope for, but it's not the same thing as a denial. Those two are vastly different. And vets, don't treat them as if they're equal. It doesn't work that way. Now, I want to be very careful here because I don't want anyone leaving this video thinking every 0% rating is automatically a huge victory. That's not the point. Every veteran's situation is different. Every condition is different. Every decision is based on its own evidence and facts and the rating specialist. What I'm saying is that many veterans underestimate the value of service connection because they're focused entirely on the percentage that comes back. In my opinion, that's looking at the decision through a way narrow lens. The veterans who seem to navigate the VA system the best, they're the ones who understand that there's a huge difference between emotional reaction and documentation. They read their decision letters. They understand what was granted. They understand what was denied. They understand the evidence. They understand the rating criteria. Most importantly, they understand that the percentage is a starting point. It's just one tiny piece of a really big puzzle. If you remember one thing from today's video, let it be this. The percentage tells you what the VA thinks today. Service connection can affect what happens today and tomorrow. That's why I believe the real value of a 0% rating isn't the rating itself. It's the fact that the VA has already acknowledged the condition is connected to your military service. That recognition can matter for future changes. It can matter for secondary conditions. It'll grant you healthcare considerations, and it'll help your overall disability picture. So if you're receiving 0% ratings, don't just look at the number, get ticked off, and move on. Read the decision. Understand what was granted. Understand what service connection means. Read the records. Don't read the rumors. Don't listen to the bull crap. The more you understand your records today, the fewer surprises you're going to have later. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I really want to get this information out to as many veterans as possible. Again, I'm trying to be more of an educator than, somebody who's going to teach you how you should go take care of claim A and you should take care of claim B. Let's just all get into this together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.